Tom is the owner and principal of Shelton Cook Real Estate and Real Estate Services. He brings the culmination of 28 years of a career where he has held executive property management positions in a select group of the most prominent multifamily firms in the country. So thank you, Tom, for bringing your expertise to this panel as well. We're going to start with those success stories and spend some time there and let each person share a little bit of their background and information.
Just to kind of round out what Kelly had mentioned in the introduction, I spent a couple years in my past with Insignia, and then 11 years with Greystar. I actually opened the Greystar office here in 1998 out of a two-bedroom apartment in Tempe. Our whole portfolio west of Texas was 2 properties in Tucson, and we were able to grow that business over a period of time, and then spent 2 years as president of Western National over in Orange County, and then came back and bought this company in 2010. And so we had a pretty unique opportunity to come in and kind of really mold a lot of the business from scratch and build our company the way we thought we wanted to build it and what we wanted it to become. So two things or 2 terms I think I would offer you that have worked for us, that have really resulted in outstanding financial performance for our clients. And the first would be, we are a very employee-driven organization. We put a lot of responsibility with our employees for coming up with establishing our protocol. We sat down early on with our employees and we developed our mission statement. We, with our employees, developed our goals and objectives for the company. We created a coin of excellence and a recognition program for all of our employees that was done with significant employee input, and we do that on a quarterly basis. We have an education committee that works with our training department in creating education programs. Our employees helped us create our education requirements, what classes need to be taken, how often they need to be taken, what job requires, what participation and what curriculum. And so we really have gone back and asked all of our, and it's not just our senior level group, but we engage people at the site level to help us establish those requirements. And we think it gives them more buy-in to the process, and it's been very successful for us. The second thing I would mention to you would be, we talk a lot about accountability. And we point to the team leaders on each of our teams as that focal point of accountability. We look at on-site community managers and we look at regional portfolio directors. And if we have a property that's struggling or an employee that's struggling, whether it's a maintenance tech or whether it's a leasing consultant, I don't necessarily want to hear about poor closing ratios, or we can't get make-readies done, or we're having attendance problems, unless I hear, what has that team leader done to help counsel that employee? What have we done to coach them? What have we done to make them better? What steps have we taken to see that they're more successful? Because unless we've gone through that process, I don't think going right to the employee and addressing issues sometimes is the best way to rectify that problem. So what it does for us is it helps on-site managers, community managers, helps regional people. We get a lot more focus in the hiring process. We get a lot more focus in the interviewing process because we know that at the end of the day, each one of those people are going to be ultimately accountable for the performance of either that region or that portfolio or for that team. So those couple of things, I think, over the last 6 years that we've been here have helped us tremendously with our performance for our clients, and our internal growth, we think, has been very, I guess, above beyond what our expectations when we originally started. So there's a couple of things.
I wanted to kick things off with culture. We kind of did prioritize these to some level as well, but culture is one of the big things that came up, and obviously there is a session that will be specifically just on culture, but we felt that it would be good to kind of touch on it here today. So, and I think it was Tom who really connected with this during our call and had said, this is incredibly important. So, Tom, I'd really like for you to kick things off and just tell us how culture kind of comes into play here.
Sure. It'll teach you to open your mouth about something. You'll be the first one selected. So I guess I was pretty vocal about this culture thing when we had our conference call. So I immediately went to the dictionary and said, I better see what the definition of culture is. And it said, cultivation of bacteria, tissue, cells, etc.
Sounds about right for some
in
companies.
an artificial medium. So those of you that had a question about what culture is, now you know. Take that definition home with you. But no, when we had our little preparation call for this, culture is a big thing, I think, with me, and I'm sure with everybody here. I think talks to your employees. And I look at the fact we have really 4 stakeholders. We have our employees, we have our clients, we have our residents, and we have the service vendors and contractors that we work with. And I've told people oftentimes that really to define or see what people think about the culture of your company, talk to your suppliers. Talk to the people that work with you on a day-to-day basis that you rely on. And it's interesting, the feedback that you'll get, and we do that quite often. We have a program that we do with all of our vendors and contractors on an annual basis, and we try and repay them for all the goods and services that they've helped us with over the years. But the other thing I'd mention too is that culture and the creation of culture and the maintaining of culture starts at the top. It starts with each of you sitting here today. I think it's a testament to your commitment to your organization and to your companies that you're here. You've taken the time to be here. And I think it really goes to how you act, how you dress, how you look, how you talk to people, how you communicate, how you conduct yourselves, how you maintain your office, how you maintain your properties, how you respond to people. All that, in my opinion, drives culture. And I think it's very, very, very important. As we talk about leadership and empowering employees to be leaders, recruiting leaders to come to work for our company, retaining leadership within our company, I think a lot of that surrounds the culture that you create and the culture that you are able to maintain in your organization. We, like I said before, we engage our employees quite a bit. Like some of the others, we have a spirit committee that does a lot of things. And the one thing I would tell you, too, about our organization, I'm sure you guys do it, too, but we absolutely celebrate our successes as a group, and we absolutely share our failures as the same group. Because there'll be some. If you're in this business for more than a weekend, you're going to fail at something. I guarantee it. It's just a matter of time. To tell people there are 2 or 3 things that you can be assured of, and one of them is you're going to get fired. One of these days, if you haven't, it's ultimately going to happen in some form or fashion. You're not going to like it, but it just kind of happens. So we really, as a team, when things are right and things go well and we're rewarded, we make sure we share that with our entire organization. When things don't go well, we have a hiccup, we have a bump, and it inevitably happens to everybody. We take accountability for that, and we look at that and see what we can do to correct that situation so we don't repeat it. And I think that it goes a long way in our organization to speak to the kind of culture that we have that helps us both recruit and retain employees.
And Tom, what about you in terms of communication and effectiveness?
Just a couple of additional bullet points. And obviously, it's critical to any successful organization to have an outstanding communication program. We have a mantra that we say, let the bad news travel fast. If there's something happens, whether it's at a property, whether it's obviously fire, flood, and blood are the big things we always hear about, but if it's an employee issue, a performance issue, if there's something going on, make sure that the communication goes as quickly as humanly possible. I would also tell you, we talked a lot about this, we still talk a lot about it, if in fact your primary method of communication is email, big mistake. I think it's a horrible mistake to communicate important things either to clients, to employees, by email. I think if you need to pick anywhere, obviously sometimes we have to do that. Rick Graff's not going to call you every night and check in with you and see how you're doing. But if it's at all possible to have that personal touch, that personal communication, don't email a client, don't send an email blast. Pick up the phone, talk to the person, see what's going on. We've all received and probably written emails that it's hard to interpret somebody's tone, some of their sarcasm, some of their demeanor. You don't quite know for sure. I'm one that writes emails, and I'll sit on it for an hour or so, and I'm thinking, do I hit the send button? Maybe I should not. Maybe I need to rewrite this. So, I should have picked up the phone, because that would have eliminated all that confusion, all that angst about whether I'm saying the right thing or not. A couple quick things. We have a weekly manager's call. Our VP of Operations has an open call every week that any manager, it's not required, any manager can dial into. There's an open forum for current issues. We're talking about whether it's the budgeting process or we're doing something special as an organization or a corporation, new initiatives. That's the time you can get in, get that information. We think it's terrific. It lasts an hour. It's every Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. Everybody knows when it is, and it's available to everybody. So we do that. We are in the process of a conversion to Yardi from MRI, which is total insanity, which you all understand. We've engaged, we're using a product called Yammer now to use. It's a communication platform. We're using that to communicate between sites, what's good, what's bad. We've posted a lot of things on Yammer, so if you have questions or concerns or comments, our direction is, check Yammer. Go to see what's on there, see what's been posted. It's out there. That's where we find a lot of that communication helps tremendously. And then just a little thing I thought was relevant and important. We also have kind of a book. It's not like an Oprah thing, but it's kind of a book of the month club. We suggest motivational books and motivational things and success books that we share with our staff. And so we have an online book club, kind of a blog thing that happens on a monthly basis. Our managers kind of get online, share thoughts and ideas about the book that they're reading. They share it with others, and it's been a huge success for us. It's a little something that, and they look forward to it. And sometimes there's a lot of participation. Sometimes there's 4, 5, or 6, or 7. I should say we're a 25,000 unit company, 600 plus associates, 5 states. So, but you know what? If it's a dozen people, it's important to them, and they don't miss. So we kind of keep it up and encourage people to participate. So those are my thoughts on communication.